everyone so much for joining. We really, really appreciate it. Today, we're going to do a behind-the-scenes look at how Better.com communicates and where Front is involved in that picture. So for the agenda today, we are going to do some introductions. We will then jump into Holly's story. We're going to talk about how Better.com communicates, as mentioned before, and then we will also have 5 or 10 minutes at the end for a question and answer. So that is our agenda. And if you have any questions throughout the process, go ahead and put them in the chat or in the Q&A. That should be pretty active the entire time, so please feel free to throw your questions in there. Okay. So first of all, what is Front? So for those of you who don't know, Front is the leading customer communications platform. And what that means is we are at the intersection of your communications with your customers, but also your internal collaboration with your team. And that kind of starts with the concept of a shared inbox. So shared inbox platform, but with a lot of other things that you can do, whether it's integrations or some supercharged features that Front offers. But all things communication, that's what Front offers. So today we're going to talk about how Better uses Front to manage those communications. So Holly, if you could, please tell us a little bit about how, sorry, first of all, tell us about Better.com before we get into that.
Yes, so Better.com is an online platform for home financing. We have been around for a few years now, have experienced some fantastic growth. We currently look to offer mainly in the purchase and refinance world, but are looking to expand as we continue to grow and grow.
Amazing. Awesome. So a little bit about Holly's story. Tell us about yourself.
Yeah, so I've had an interesting path, I will say. I have a BA from Vanderbilt University. I joined Better back in 2017, back when the company was much, much smaller and one of the original sales 10, as we like to call it. After working as a loan consultant on our team, I stepped into the customer experience department early in 2019. At the time, I was managing a team of 5 people. In a year, we've gone from just 5 in our New York office to about 150 associates across all 4 of our US offices. So there's been a lot of growth really, really quickly, but it's been a fantastic ride and I've loved every second of it.
That's amazing. Congratulations on being part of such a cool journey.
Thank you.
Okay, so when it comes to the mortgage process itself, give us a little bit of a typical loan workflow from behind the scenes at Better.
Yeah, so like many mortgage lenders out there, we follow the typical cadence when it comes to processing loan. But what's unique about Better is that we have decided to introduce specialized points of contact throughout the entire mortgage experience. So where at many other lenders, you might be working with one person throughout, we've actually established people who are specialized in that particular milestone that can really speak to any issues that you might experience at that particular time. What we've also done is made sure that those multiple points of contact can work really seamlessly and can support you all the way through and make sure that you're having a seamless experience. So if you were to look at our mortgage process here, you start off by working with a customer experience associate. That's what we call a CEA. They'll help you through that pre-approval. They'll help you understand what it is that you might be eligible for and help you complete the application. After that, you'll get passed off to a loan consultant associate. They help you in what we call the pre-lock stage. That's basically doing another vetting of your information and just making sure that we're helping you identify the best loan products. After that, we'll pass you off to your loan consultant who works in partnership with the loan consultant associate. They're going to help you understand your pricing options and help you lock in your rate, at which point we'll pass you off to the processing expert associate and the senior processing expert. They take care of what we call the processing stage. That's when we're going through all of your documentation, making sure that we check all of our boxes off, and then send you over to our closing expert who takes care of your entire closing experience. Make sure that we can get to the finish line and that it's a happy experience there. And then finally, after we funded your loan, you'll work again with a CEA who will help you through the same part of your experience here.
Excellent. I personally never been through the mortgage process, but this really helps. I appreciate you sharing that. So when it comes to when Better met Front, why did Better need a communication solution like Front?
Yes. So as you can see, we have a really unique way of working with our clients. So when we were vetting our different options, we wanted to make sure that we had a platform that was just as unique as us. And that's really what we found with Front. We wanted to make sure that we had an omni-channel solution, honestly, and we wanted to make sure that we were partnering with somebody who could kind of grow and adapt with us as we were growing and adapting to the industry. So we were incredibly happy to find Front, and it's just been fantastic since day one. I have only positive things to say about what we've been able to do as partners in this journey together. I actually remember when we introduced Front as our new platform and was just thoroughly impressed with how seamless it was. And what I've really loved, I'll say, is that Front has gone above and beyond in making sure that we can partner on building new projects. As a startup company, we want to make sure that we are always being innovative. And Front allows us to introduce new changes and build new features, both for our employees and for our clients, and supports us along the way to make sure that everything looks beautiful. So it's been a good time. Front has for us, yeah.
You're making me blush, and I really appreciate all the kind words. I can speak on all Front and say that it's been an absolute pleasure working with Better as well. When it comes to your day-to-day operations, how are you using Front in terms of your day-to-day?
Yeah. So with Front, we've set it up so that it basically mimics how we set up our different teams, which means that we rely really heavily on shared inboxes. I'll focus specifically on my department, the customer experience team. So as you saw, there are many different milestones throughout the process, and CEAs are unique in that they support you throughout that entire process. So as you're working with maybe your loan consultant or your expert, the CEA will always be there to make sure that you're getting what you need. Because of that, CEAs work out of shared inboxes, which basically means that for the many different inboxes we can use to contact Better, it's managed by one team, and we can easily move between each inbox. It's great because it allows us to remain really nimble as volume ebbs and flows and as we move through the different inboxes.
Totally.
Along with that, we also use a lot of shared drafts, which I think is, if we could hit the next slide. Thank you. So this actually can show you a bit about what our shared inboxes look like here. So under this section where we see the lock stars, that's what we call our sales team internally. You see those team inboxes there. You can see that we have a chat, hello, purchase, refinance, servicing, support. These are all the different inboxes that we own. The CEAs can move between each of them and make sure that they're at the end of the day. Again, because it's shared, we can have multiple people in each one to getting to it as quickly as possible, and it allows people to work on different stuff.
Totally, yeah. I was going to explain what shared inboxes were, but I think you did a perfect job. You mentioned shared drafts and that being one of your favorite features. Let's talk about how you use that tool.
Yeah, so I really, really love the shared drafts feature because of how our work is set up. So working in the mortgage industry, it's a highly regulated industry. It requires that you are licensed before you are in conversations. As something that we do to make sure that we are maximizing our workforce, we will oftentimes work with our teams to draft conversations for our licensed team members to send so that they can make sure that everything is compliant and that we are again, checking off our boxes, crossing our T's, dotting our I's. It allows our licensed people to actually spend more time on the phone having those kinds of conversations, while our unlicensed people are putting those written comms together so by having the shared drafts, it allows us to basically, get two things done at once and quicker.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think it's so cool that not only can you collaborate on messages before they go out, but I've also seen shared drafts work really effectively as a training mechanism. So if you have someone new that you want to make sure that they're actually, I just got a pop up. Let me see. There we go. Can you see me still?
Yes.
Okay. So if you have someone new and you want to make sure that their messaging is continuous with what the company's putting out there, then shared drafts is a great way to do that. Okay. So comments and mentions is another feature that I know that your team is using heavily. So it is a huge part of the collaboration features here at Front. And I know that you're using it at Better. So tell us a little bit about how they come in handy.
Yeah, so this is actually a huge part of our workflow. So as you saw with the video before, we have multiple points of contact throughout that mortgage experience. It's really important for us that the borrower feels like it's seamless when they're talking to somebody, and even though they might be reaching out to one, and that person might not necessarily be the best point of contact, we can make sure that that person is still able to assist you, and we can provide the answers to that person. So oftentimes what you might see is we might set up a loan consultant, for example, might receive an email from one of our clients. They might not necessarily know the best answer. They can actually mention or leave a comment for somebody that might have the appropriate answer, get that correct information, and then reply back to the borrower or to the client, and basically provide that solution in a way that prevents them from having to go and talk to multiple people. So it's great on the borrower's end in that they only have to reach out to one person if they've got a question, and then it's great on our end too because we can have those conversations internally without having to
Yeah, absolutely. It takes away the need of possibly having an external conversation and CCing or forwarding. You can have a conversation about a conversation completely internally, and it's really, really helpful.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. So one other feature that I know you're using is canned responses. So how has this feature helped your team?
Yes, so canned responses are huge, especially for the CEAs. When it comes to canned responses, we use it mostly with our emails and with our live chat. Because we have these canned responses, we can move really quickly with the conversations that we're having with our clients and improve our response time. We've seen this work really well, especially with our live chat feature. We want to make sure that we're, not only responding quickly, but then we're also uniform in the communications that we have with our clients to ensure that really great quality across the board. So using the canned responses allows us to, not only move really quickly and respond quickly by just, quickly plugging and chugging the necessary pieces, but it also makes sure that we can, keep that great quality across the board.
Totally. And as soon as you input one of those canned responses, you have editing capabilities to make any last minute changes before you send it out.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that's what's best too, is that, even though we have these canned responses that can make sure that everything is really uniform, it gives us the ability to kind of put that unique twist in and that unique there so that agents are still kind of able to have a little personality when they're communicating.
Yeah, totally. Awesome. So moving on to analytics, this is also another big part of Front. What value have you seen from when you're using Front? Have you seen from analytics, and how does this help you measure some of your goals?
Yes, so I love the analytics feature, especially for our live chat. So I'll say this. So live chat actually has been probably the best part of our relationship with Front. It's something that we really built together, which is what I think I've most appreciated during this partnership. And along with that, the analytics in Front have been key in really understanding what value live chat brings to our company. This has been I'll say the Bible for my managers as they're working with their teams and they're looking to understand, not only how their agents are working, but what is the impact. So, it's an integral part of our workflow. It's something that we're checking every day. It's keeping us aligned with our SLAs, and it also allows the managers to be able to to again be nimble and adjust teams as needed if they see that there might be a gap. The tool works so quickly, honestly, that we can, if we notice that something might be off, we can quickly add in another as needed, or remove one if we don't need the help. So the analytics is again, it's our
That's so great to hear. And shameless plug, we just released a new SLA builder that integrates directly with analytics. So it's easier than ever to manage your SLAs and make sure that you're tracking and measuring yourself against those as best as possible. Okay, so I think that wraps it up for features, but I would love to move to the next slide for final thoughts. So Holly, any final thoughts that you would like to share with the folks that are joining us today?
I think for final thoughts, what I would say is I have loved working with Front because it has done a really fantastic job of matching exactly what we need as a company. Better is a very unique mortgage lender. We're doing something that no other lender out there is doing. And because of that, we needed to have a communication platform that is doing something that no other platform out there is able to provide. And Front really is the one that's gone above and beyond and has made sure that, not only that we can get what we need today, but is helping us build what we need. And that's what I thought.
I appreciate that so much. One of our values here at Front is collaboration, and being able to collaborate with Holly and the team at Better has been an absolute pleasure. And even today, just being able to prepare for this presentation, it's been awesome. So I want to save the rest of the time for questions, and we'll be happy to stay and answer any questions that the folks have here. So please go ahead and use the questions feature. While we're waiting for those, I also did want to let you know that there should be a handout. And if you see, there's actually a handouts section with the red dot at the top right. Go ahead and navigate to that. There's a one-pager on Front for real estate teams that we've shared there. So go ahead and check that out. But in the meantime, let us know if you have any questions either in the chat or in the Q&A, and we'll get to those.
Yeah, I'm checking out some of these comments here.
I think there's something in here. Does Front have, okay, so we have a question from Vishal. Does Front have integrations, and does Better use any? So Front does. I can go ahead and speak to Front. Front does have integrations, a lot of integrations out of the box that are pre-built, ready for your team to use. So maybe you use a CRM. You can easily integrate that directly into Front. So all of your customer information is living in one place the moment that you're connecting with your customer. So Holly, does your team use any integrations with Front?
Yes. So the big thing that I will say is, not to repeat myself, is really that live chat feature. That's been the big thing that we've been working on to kind of integrate into our platform. So Better is unique in that we built out our own CRM, but Front has done a great job of adapting to what we need, and has allowed us to integrate that into our platform and we're providing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Any other questions that we can handle here? We'd love to talk to you. We have a lot of people from all over the United States. Any questions from the East Coast, the Midwest, anywhere? I think I see something here. Has Front been helpful now that Better is working remote? Oh, Holly, I'll let you handle that one.
Oh, absolutely. I think that many of us have never gone through something like what we are going through today. And Front really has been key for us because we can no longer turn to, our peer on the right or the left. We really have to move all of our communications online, and Front allows us to do that without interrupting our workflow. Again, that's why we rely so heavily on the shared inboxes, on the draft sharing, because it allows us to still work as efficiently as we would in the office, but from the comfort of my couch.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think some of the collaboration features are only amplified when you're not with your teammates in person. So that's great to see that you've taken advantage of those.
Hmm.
So I think there's something in the chat. Let me check on what that is. So Melissa asked, does this work in Canada yet? And I'm not quite sure if you wanted to provide a little bit more context. We do function regardless of where you are. So if you're in Canada and you're interested in using Front, please let us know. We'll be happy to help. But yeah, if it was more around the question of language support, that might be something that we can check in on for you. But just let us know if you had additional questions. So any others from the team? We have a few minutes left here. While we're waiting for any additionals, I just wanted to say thanks so much for joining Holly and I. It's been a pleasure to be here, to speak with you all. We know that the times right now are very, very interesting, and hopefully being able to share this tribal knowledge and learn together and grow together is beneficial for everyone involved. And that's my only hope for these.
Yes, absolutely. No, thank you so much for having me join you today. I've absolutely loved our conversation. Again, I've really loved working with Front. It's unlike any of the other tools I think I've used in the past, but I think I love it so much. I'm really, really big on working as a team and collaborating, and Front allows us to do that not only internally at Better, but also as we do in Crowley. So thank you today for inviting me.
Of course. We did have one more question while we were chatting there. So what are ways that you've automated your workflows?
Oh, that's a great question. Speaking from the CEA team, we've automated our workflows in some ways when it comes to our conversations. I think what has allowed us to do that the most is probably things like responses. Again, one of the things that we really like here at Better is that we want to make sure that it is always uniform in quality and service, but we also love to give our employees the opportunity to have a little uniqueness and to add a little bit of their personality when they're communicating with their borrowers and with their clients. So by relying on tools like the responses, it allows it to be a somewhat more automatic process, but still involve that unique.
Totally.
Yeah.
There's lots of ways that you can kind of automate it by still having personalization. I think that's one of the greatest things that you can do for your customers is, yes, having continuity across the company's messaging, but also giving each individual at the company a little bit of personality or flair on their outbound messages. There's also a pretty robust rules engine that you can use in Front and automate just about all of the maybe smaller, more minute tasks that take up time. Those can be automated. So definitely urge anyone to check those out if you do have interest. Okay, so another question here. How does Front differ from Slack, Microsoft Teams, and other collaboration tools? Good question. So Front is really built on not only being your source of internal communication, but also external. So something like Slack is great for some of those maybe one-off conversations. I use it to find out where Vishal might be getting lunch today or something like that. But when it comes to internal communications, external communications, and the intersection of those two, and making sure that I'm able to collaborate internally with my teammates on the best outbound messages for our customers, that's where Front is at a very unique point right now, is being in the middle of those two. We want to make sure that we're offering a platform that allows for succinct internal collaboration and best-in-class external collaboration, or best-in-class external communication, rather. So that's where Front's a bit different from those other tools. I saw something in the chat came up that is awesome and hilarious. Someone's doing a refinance right now with Better, and the response times have been lightning fast. So that is a testament to your team, Holly.
Awesome. I will definitely share that feedback with our refi team.
Amazing. Cool. So any last minute questions? I know I've asked that a few times now, but truly any last minute questions, we're happy to stay. Otherwise, it's been an absolute pleasure, and we really appreciate everyone's time. I'll wait maybe 30 seconds here or so for anyone to trickle in. Yeah. I've already had Holly give her amazing last thoughts, so I don't want to have her do that again. Cool. Well, again, there is a handout in the handout section for real estate teams, so go ahead and check that out. And I think that just about wraps it up for us. Again, thank you everyone for your time and for your attention, and we really hope you enjoy the rest of the sessions if you do have any others that you're going to. And Holly, really, really appreciate your time and working with us. It's always good to see you.
Of course. Thank you again, Joe. This has been great.